on care management services, which is an expansion of services being offered by Vandenack Weaver as we expand our estate planning services. Our guests today are Rachel Truhlsen, who owns Truhlsen Elder Law of Nebraska and has been very innovative in creating a life care planning model. In addition, we have Emily Pattison, who is an elder law attorney for Vandenack Weaver and actually does quite a bit more in the estate planning arena, not just elder law. And Marian Weaver, our newest member, who is serving in the role of care coordinator with our care services team. And so I first want to talk to Rachel. I just really love the model she's developed. I'd first heard about this, and I think it was ABA Tech Show several years ago, but she's been really proactive and very passionate about developing this type of service for clients. So can you speak to us, Rachel, about what inspired you to build, and I think you referred to it as life care business, correct?
Right, we call it life care planning in our office. And it's a model that we follow that I first stumbled across back in 2012. But as I've been doing estate planning work for now for over 26 years, and it really about probably 5 years ago, I had an increase in the clients that were coming in and asking questions that were bigger than estate planning. They were asking questions about, how do I pay for care because my wife has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease and I'm going to need to transition her to either assisted living or skilled nursing at some point. How do I pay for that care? I'm a veteran. How do I tap into any veteran benefits that might be available? How do I protect my assets in case the loved one does need to go to a care facility? And those questions kept coming on a more regular basis. And I truly just didn't have answers for them because I had not educated myself on the issues related to aging and caring for elders. And so back in 2015, I jumped into just studying elder law. And so my practice has transitioned into more of an elder law focused firm. Then it was back in about 2017 when I started getting more questions about care. How do I care for the loved one that I want to keep at home? So I was having more people say, I want to keep my loved one at home. How do I do this? How do I plug in community resources? If I have to put a plan in place to transition my loved one to a memory care facility or assisted living facility, how do I do that? How do I pick the right care? What people do I get involved on my team? And again, I didn't have answers for those questions. And being a lawyer and being a problem solver and not having answers to those questions was very problematic for me. So I jumped into learning more about the life care planning. And again, it was a model that I learned about back in 2012. And we now have a healthcare professional on staff in my office on a full-time basis, and she coordinates care for our clients who want to stay at home and receive additional care, whether they're in an assisted living or in a nursing care facility.
And as you know, I'm really inspired by what you've done. We met really early in our careers, and I just think having watched your path has been really special, and I'm really grateful to have you be connected to us. So Marian, can you talk about what you're doing in your role as the care coordinator here for us and assisting clients with similar issues?
Yes, thank you, Mary. I am very excited to be the new care coordinator at Vandenack Weaver. I am going to be helping assist the clients do some advanced planning or some crisis planning for long-term care, and that is an area that is a passion of my heart. I'm going to help with the location of senior services and senior housing, and I will help tour the communities with the clients. We will look at senior communities, assisted living communities, memory care. I will also help assist if someone is trying to stay in their home and we're looking at either medical or non-medical services. For medical services, those types of things would be home health care. I can help get that lined up. Home health care services incorporate all the therapies, speech therapy, physical therapies, occupational therapy, or we can go with non-medical services, and those services would incorporate more the companion care and looking at the personal cares if someone wants to stay in their home but they need assist with let's say dressing or hygiene, grooming, or even feeding. I'm also going to be helping to schedule adult day services and respite care for those families that maybe are trying to keep a loved one in the home or living with them. I can help with facilitation of family meetings so that we can create a care plan and everybody knows what's happening during the care plan so that we're all on board. I can help to advocate in hospital settings, or I can monitor in long-term care facilities. So I will be your advocate. Other areas someone might use me is if they need assistance with setting up doctor's appointments or even attending doctor's appointments with their loved ones. So there is such an array of services. And like I said, all of these things are very passionate to my heart because I've worked in long-term care for the past 15 years. So this is just a different area, a different branch that I'm excited about.
Yeah, so your professional background has you well suited for this, right?
Yes, it is what I love. I was a graduate of Creighton University 30 years ago in occupational therapy. So this is allowing me to take my healthcare services to a new area, and just excited to work with the other attorneys that I have not done with.
And if I recall correctly, most recently, you were providing those types of services in senior facilities, correct?
Yes, I have worked the past 15 years. I've either been in home health care, so I've been in the homes and I know what's needed. I know how to problem solve, or I have worked in skilled nursing facilities. So we've done a lot of visits with our patients at that time into the community to find out how can we get this loved one back home or maybe back to their assisted living community because their long-term goal was not to stay in skilled facilities. So I've had the opportunity to really tour the Omaha community of senior living in all different settings. And I'm passionate about what I do.
Well, and I can speak to, I really appreciated that one time here that my mom needed some help, right? And she called at the final hour the night before, desperate to have somebody, and I had a day full of meetings. So Marian stepped in and took her in and stayed, chatted with her. But anyway, she thinks you are the most wonderful person. So the next time she needs some, can we call Marian instead of you? I'm like, what?
Well, thank you for the compliment. Having relationships with all of the patients and clients that I've ever worked with and getting them back into the setting that is their best quality of life and helping them live a life that is near and dear to their hearts is reward in itself.
So Emily, you've been working in elder law for quite a period of time. Can you speak to some of the vital elder law issues that need to be considered in life planning and the role that you play in that?
Absolutely. So aside from just the estate planning portion where, you plan for what happens to your assets after somebody passes away, elder law gives you the ability to sort of plan for what happens before that. What if you become incapacitated? And an elder law attorney is kind of specialized in looking for those things. So whether that means having a more comprehensive power of attorney, making sure that those documents will give your agent all of the abilities to carry out your wishes that they need to, all the way up to looking for signs of elder abuse. I mean, these are things that unfortunately do happen, and attorneys are in the role of being an advocate for their clients and needing to look out for that type of thing that could happen. Elder law also kind of encompasses the aspect of what do we do if an individual does need to go into a nursing facility or have skilled care? How do we keep their estate plan in conjunction with what their wishes are and preserve their assets as much as possible while also making that care affordable? So it's an incredibly rewarding part of the law just because of all of the good and the impact that you're able to make in your clients' lives.
And, Rachel, you and I have done an episode where we talked about collaborative planning. And so what's kind of going on in this whole realm is we're bringing, the legal piece and the healthcare piece together. Can you just speak a little bit to how that really benefits clients and their families?
Right. Well, especially when you have a care coordinator in the middle of all of that. When we do life care planning in our office, I'm in charge of the legal financial side of that. So I make sure that the clients have the power of attorney documents like Emily was alluding to. They need to be a little more comprehensive as we age so that they can cover areas that we may not need when we're younger. We need to have powers in there for gifting and for long-term care planning and different types of things that you may not consider when you're a younger person. And then when the care coordinator becomes involved, that's where the real team is put together with additional resources from community-based services. And so, as Marian was saying, we work with our home care people, our professionals as far as doctors and nurses, and anyone else that needs to be on that team as far as putting a plan in place to care for that aging loved one. And that's another part of collaborative planning, because without involving all of those people, we can't put a good plan of care in place for the person moving forward. And oftentimes the discussions happen outside of the presence of our elderly client, and they need that person in the middle to advocate for them and to put a plan of care in place, and just to make sure it's moving the way it's supposed to. And it will change over time. So as your elder ages, and as his or her condition changes over time, the care plan looks different and your team members may change, but the communication doesn't change. And that care coordinator is really essential in that process.
And so you kind of have the same approach that we do, which is why we really appreciate having you of Consul and having your services as a resource. And our model is a little bit different. What is unique about the model that you've built for clients?
Well, I think, and I don't know that it's different than even what Marian said. We have a care coordinator who is also an occupational therapist, and she coordinates all of the care. And we really are involved in plugging in the resources and monitoring that. It's not just making referrals, you know, you call this person or call that person for this typical type of service. We're actually the central person that makes all that communication and makes sure that everyone is on the same page. If there's ever any problems in, say, a home care worker assignment, whether they don't show up, whether there's not maybe a good chemistry with whoever the resident is, then we'll make sure that we get that changed. So the care coordinator is really the central communication person in making sure everything flows properly. And we just come alongside the families and are a resource to them during that process.
I just have to tell like each of you that I so value the passion that each of you has for elders. So Emily, one of the things that I value about each of you that are participating here today is that you're all team players, and we really focus on that here. Can you speak to a little bit like what your view on the importance of that team is?
Absolutely. I think that's so incredibly important when you're dealing with an aging family member, or you've got a loved one who's facing these decisions that they've never come across before. You want to have a group of people who are passionate about what they do. They like to work together. They feel very strongly about the work that they're doing. And I can certainly attest to that with this group that's been put together at Vandenack Weaver. The amount of experience alone, just with Mary, your national reputation, and Marian, your experience in occupational therapy, and Rachel's unmatched ability to produce quality elder law care in Nebraska. I mean, those are all things that you can't get at any other firm. I mean, those are going to be incredibly important, and things that not just garner a lot of trust in the client and the family members, but just speak for themselves, to be quite honest.
And Marian, did you have any final observation that you'd like to offer?
You know, I think the most important thing is that the client gets the say. If you're working, you know, toward the benefit of your parent, a lot of times it's the children trying to make the decisions, but we need to involve everybody in the process in order for them to be happy. And I feel like the person that is going to be in these communities, the one living there, really needs to get out there and be touring and finding out what the right match is for them, because we all have different personalities, and we need to have a good fit in order to maximize quality of life and independence for that client.
So I want to thank each of you for participating today and being here. So thank you.